All eyes in the Atlantic are on Tropical Storm Melissa, a rapidly developing system that has captured the attention of meteorologists and coastal communities alike. This storm, which began as a cluster of thunderstorms just days ago, has quickly organized into a formidable tropical cyclone, drawing energy from the warm waters of the Caribbean and the Atlantic. Over the past 24 hours, Melissa has shown remarkable intensification in the Caribbean, with cloud tops cooling and the storm's core becoming more defined. The speed at which this storm is strengthening has surprised even seasoned forecasters, who are now closely monitoring every update. With sustained winds now reaching 75 miles per hour, Melissa is teetering on the edge of hurricane status. Gusts have been reported even higher, causing rough seas and dangerous conditions for ships and small craft in the region. Forecasters warn that Melissa could soon escalate to a Category 4 hurricane if current trends continue. The storm is moving over exceptionally warm sea surface temperatures, which act as high-octane fuel for its growth, and the projected path takes it through some of the warmest waters in the Atlantic basin. In addition to the warm ocean, low wind shear in the atmosphere is allowing Melissa to maintain its structure and intensify rapidly. These ideal conditions are contributing to what meteorologists call explosive growth, a phenomenon that can turn a tropical storm into a major hurricane in a matter of hours. Satellite imagery now reveals a developing eye at the center of the storm, a classic sign that Melissa is becoming more organized and powerful. The eye is surrounded by intense thunderstorms, indicating that the storm's core is strengthening. Computer models are in strong agreement that Melissa will continue to intensify, with most projections showing it reaching major hurricane status within the next 60 hours. Meteorologists are using the latest technology to track its every move, analyzing data from satellites, aircraft, and ocean buoys. If Melissa's winds climb to 155 miles per hour, it will be just shy of the catastrophic Category 5 threshold. At this strength, the storm would pose a severe threat to life and property, with the potential for devastating storm surges, flooding, and destructive winds along any landfall location. The rapid intensification of storms, like Melissa, is becoming more common in recent years, leaving communities with less time to prepare. Emergency officials are urging residents in the potential impact zone to review their hurricane plans and gather supplies now, before conditions deteriorate. For the moment, Melissa remains over open water, churning up the sea and creating hazardous conditions for marine traffic. The storm's future track is still uncertain, but its intensity and size mean that even areas far from the center could feel its effects. The projected path has the entire Caribbean region on high alert, with local governments issuing watches and warnings. Residents are glued to weather updates, hoping for a shift in the storm's direction, but preparing for the worst. We'll be tracking every move as this powerful storm continues its journey across the Atlantic, bringing you the latest updates and expert analysis as Melissa's story unfolds. Hurricane Melissa's forecast track brings it dangerously close to Jamaica, raising alarms across the island nation. Meteorologists are closely monitoring the storm's every move, as its projected path puts millions of lives and livelihoods at risk. The government has issued urgent warnings, and local authorities are urging residents to stay informed and take immediate action. The threat is not just from the wind, but also from torrential rain and the potential for widespread flooding. Melissa is expected to make landfall as a major hurricane, bringing with it the full force of nature. Winds could exceed 120 miles per hour, strong enough to uproot trees, damage homes, and knock out power for days or even weeks. The storm's arrival will likely be accompanied by blinding rain and dangerous storm surge, threatening low-lying communities along the coast. Residents are being told to rush their preparations as time is running out. People are boarding up windows, gathering emergency supplies, and making plans to evacuate if necessary. Destructive winds, flash flooding, and life-threatening storm surge are all imminent. Emergency shelters are opening, and first responders are on high alert, ready to assist those in need. After Jamaica, Melissa is forecast to continue on a west-northwest track, heading straight for Cuba. The storm is expected to maintain its strength, posing a serious threat of catastrophic damage and deadly landslides, especially in mountainous regions. Cuba's history with hurricanes means the nation is no stranger to these threats, but each storm brings its own unique dangers. Even with Cuba's well-established hurricane preparedness and experienced emergency services, a direct hit from a storm as powerful as Melissa will be a true test of resilience. authorities are mobilizing resources, reinforcing infrastructure, and preparing evacuation routes, but the uncertainty of the storm's exact path keeps everyone on edge. For the United States, there is a measure of relief. A trough of low pressure over the east coast is expected to steer Melissa away from Florida and the mainland, sparing these areas from the worst of the storm. Still, forecasters are watching closely for any changes in the steering currents that could alter Melissa's path at the last minute. Instead of striking the U.S., the storm will likely curve northeast, moving into the open Atlantic. As Melissa encounters cooler waters and increased wind shear, it is expected to gradually weaken. The hurricane's powerful winds will diminish, but the system will still generate large waves and dangerous rip currents along the Atlantic coastline. As Melissa transitions to an extratropical cyclone, it will still carry significant moisture and energy across the ocean. These remnants can fuel new weather systems, bringing heavy rain and gusty winds to areas far from the storm's original path. Mariners and coastal communities across the North Atlantic are being advised to stay alert. The remnants of Melissa will accelerate across the North Atlantic, setting the stage for impacts in the United Kingdom and parts of Western Europe. Meteorologists are already tracking the storm's projected path, warning of the potential for heavy rainfall, strong winds, and possible flooding as the system approaches. Even as a weakened system, Melissa's story is far from over. Its lingering effects will be felt by communities thousands of miles from where it first made landfall. A reminder of how interconnected our weather systems truly are. Soon, Melissa's legacy will connect with Europe's weather, influencing conditions and reminding us of the far-reaching power of nature's most formidable storms. As we turn the calendar to November, the UK and much of Western Europe are preparing for a spell of weather that can only be described as classic autumn: wet, windy, and thoroughly unsettled. The days ahead promise a dramatic shift from the mild, calm conditions of early autumn, as a series of powerful weather systems line up to make their mark across the region. At the heart of this change is a persistent area of low pressure anchored over the North Atlantic. This system acts like a conveyor belt, sending a relentless parade of storms towards our shores. The culprit? A powerful jet stream surging across the ocean, steering these systems directly into the UK and neighboring countries. With this setup, we can expect frequent, sometimes torrential rain, with only the briefest of respites between each weather front. Outdoor plans will need to be flexible, and waterproofs will become a daily essential. Rivers and streams may rise quickly, and localized flooding is possible in some areas, especially where the ground is already saturated. Alongside the rain, strong southwesterly winds will sweep across the region, bringing blustery conditions to both coastal and inland areas. Western coasts, in particular, will bear the brunt, with large waves crashing ashore and the risk of coastal flooding and travel disruption. Gusts could reach gale force at times, making for hazardous conditions on exposed roads and bridges. This energetic and unsettled pattern won't be confined to the UK alone. Ireland, France, and the Benelux countries are all in the path of these Atlantic storms. Cities like Dublin, Paris, and Amsterdam will see their share of heavy rain, gusty winds, and gray skies as the storm track remains firmly locked on Western Europe. Adding to the mix, moisture-laden storms like Melissa are set to intensify these Atlantic lows even further. As these systems draw in tropical moisture, they become wetter and more powerful, increasing the risk of prolonged downpours and stronger winds. The combination of warm air and abundant moisture fuels the storms, making them more dynamic and unpredictable. While Melissa itself won't arrive as a hurricane, its tropical origins mean that its energy will be felt in our autumn weather. Expect bursts of intense rainfall, sudden wind gusts, and a generally stormier feel to the atmosphere. These tropical influences can sometimes catch forecasters off guard, so it's wise to stay updated with the latest weather alerts. The first half of November, in particular, looks especially stormy, with little sign of a prolonged dry spell. Day after day of unsettled weather will test flood defenses and challenge commuters, while the persistent cloud cover will make for gloomy, short days. For now, the Atlantic is firmly in charge, sending wave after wave of wet and windy weather our way. The UK and its neighbors are in the firing line, so keep your raincoats handy and prepare for a classic stormy start to November. Despite the rain and wind, the UK will experience unseasonably mild temperatures for early November. A persistent southwesterly flow is pulling in warm, subtropical air, keeping daytime and nighttime temperatures well above average. The central England temperature is already 1.4 degrees above normal, and this trend will intensify. Cloud cover will trap warmth overnight, making frost unlikely. It'll feel more like early October than November with muggy, damp conditions. This setup is classic for a strong positive North Atlantic oscillation, driving mild, stormy weather. Expect this pattern to dominate for weeks to come. Not all forecasts agree. Short-range models predict a wet, windy start to November, while some long-range models hint at drier conditions. Short-range models like the GFS and ECMWF are highly detailed and reliable for the next 7-10 days, showing strong consensus for stormy mild weather. In contrast, the long-range CFS V2 model suggests high pressure could block Atlantic storms, bringing drier weather. This contradiction highlights the limits of long-range forecasting. Small errors can grow quickly over time. For now, confidence is highest in the short-range outlook. Expect rain, wind, and mild temperatures. Long-range models are best for spotting trends, not specifics. The atmosphere's chaotic nature means details beyond a week are always uncertain. Trust the short-term consensus for planning. The wet and windy pattern is the safe bet. Halloween in the UK looks set for a classic autumn soaking. A deep low-pressure system will bring heavy rain and strong winds right as trick-or-treating begins. Expect downpours and blustery gusts, especially in the west. Costumes and decorations will be put to the test. Parents should plan for waterproofs and perhaps keep festivities close to home. The timing is unfortunate, with the worst weather hitting during peak evening hours. Indoor celebrations might be the best option this year. The weather is set to deliver a truly spooky performance. As we look to mid-November, computer models are split on what comes next. Some suggest a high-pressure block over Scandinavia could develop, potentially shifting the UK's weather from mild and wet to colder and drier. Ensemble forecasts show a battleground Atlantic lows, pushing from the west, high pressure building to the east. The UK could be caught in the middle, with the outcome determining if we stay stormy or turn wintry. This uncertainty is why long-range confidence drops. For now, the wet and mild pattern is favored, but a dramatic shift remains possible. Forecasters are watching the Scandinavian high closely. November's story isn't written yet. With such mild air dominating, snow is off the table for most of the UK in early November. The southwesterly flow keeps temperatures too high, even at night, for frost or snow in lowland areas. Some models briefly hinted at wintry showers in southern England, but this is highly unlikely. The Scottish mountains, however, are likely to see their first snow as rain turns to snow at higher elevations. For 99% of the UK, it's all about rain and wind. Only a major pattern change, like a Scandinavian high, could open the door to widespread cold. For now, winter wonderlands are confined to the highlands. The forecast for early November is clear. The UK faces a barrage of wind and rain. Persistent Atlantic lows will bring the risk of local flooding, especially in the west. Strong winds could disrupt travel and require extra caution outdoors. While temperatures will be mild, the weather will be anything but calm. Stay prepared. Check forecasts, secure outdoor items, and clear drains to reduce flood risk. The cumulative effect of daily rain can quickly saturate the ground. From tropical remnants to battling pressure systems, it's a dynamic time for weather watchers. Find your waterproofs, stay safe, and let's ride out November together.